Here we are. So the question is, what is possible when money no longer limits you? Great question, right? What comes to your mind? Just notice the feeling of possibility that shifts immediately. My journey began in 2003 as an entrepreneur, where I dove into life coaching, got a certification, and then I had no clue about business, and I dove into the coaching part, but the business part I had no clue about. And so I ended up, after 5 years of trying without having a clue, I filed bankruptcy, and I ended up quitting business and going back to teaching again. So then years later, I started a jewelry design business, and I knew I had to do it differently. I knew I had to do something that was way different than before, with my numbers, with my marketing, with every part of business. So I got a lot of training, had a lot of mentors, and I used no debts to create a business that went for 8 years. And I just sold it at the end of 2020. I sold the assets at least. So this time I did business differently than before. And this is what I had to do that. So I had to tame the voices in my head. I had to see money not as evil and hard to deal with, but, and I'll tell you where it changed to in just a second. And then I had to see marketing differently than just seeing it as manipulative and sales as sleazy and business as greedy. So those are things that were in my head about business and the components of business. I had learned to see business as a creative process, as a creative and more holistically minded person. I realized that business is something you're creating, so there is a creative process there. So you start out with vision, you gestate that, you start planning, there's always uncertainty, you create something, you learn as you go, you evolve it, you put it out there, you have impact, and it grows beyond you, ideally. So whether it's a service or a product, this is true. So what I had to do is take the pieces of business and make money. Okay, money can be a tool for freedom and expression, not just something that's bad or evil, right? We're going to talk a lot more about that. Marketing became visibility and education, and sales became service and connection. So these things help me embrace them more fully and to step more fully into business. And I hope these concepts also help you. There's more about this in my TED Talk if you look that up. Yeah, so basically I went from a door designer back to being a coach. I was a coach many years before, as I mentioned. And I started helping especially creatives in business to re-engage with business in new ways and see things differently. So that's what I've been doing for the past few years. So about money, our culture is rampant with limiting beliefs and contradictory beliefs about money. They tell us it's good to be rich, it's good to be poor, it's noble to be poor, it's greedy to be rich, it's bad to be poor. So which ones do we believe? And they're all contradictory, and they're all in all of us, right? So we've received countless bits of programming from everywhere, from parents, teachers, movies, TV, friends, social media, politics, the news, and everything. And these are just a lot of these perceptions about money, what it is and what it isn't, are opinions. They're beliefs that we have taken on unconsciously. So it's important to take a look at these things that are unconscious in our minds so that we can reprogram our minds to create possibilities, especially if you feel like you have limitations around receiving money, charging what you're worth, increasing your income, and growing your business. Okay, so, all right. So here's a question for you. What if your capacity to create your vision is being restricted by these unconscious money beliefs? That would stink, right? So, but there's a way to move beyond it, okay? It could be that if you haven't been making as much money as you want, the money beliefs have been restricting you, because these beliefs also impact how you show up in marketing and sales and your capacity to receive, right? So the mindset dance. So, okay. So when I say mindset, what I mean is like ways of thinking, sort of paradigms of thinking and belief systems that are in our heads, right? So we're going to shine a flashlight on them so you can change your relationship with them and make the unconscious conscious. So a lot of times with mindset, with money, we're looking at scarcity or prosperity or abundance, whatever you want to call it. So scarcity is basically seeing things as there's not enough. You have resistance to something. It can be procrastination. It can be your comfort zone, meaning the place where you are now and where you've been. Even if you've accomplished great things in your life and you've done really cool stuff, wherever you are now is your comfort zone. Granted, nobody's been really comfortable in some ways since the pandemic started. So just, take it with a grain of salt. But really, it's like where you've been comfortable. You can even look at that as like how much money you've been receiving. That's your comfort zone so far. And then also with a scarcity mindset, fear is pushing you instead of your vision pulling you, right? So prosperity is coming from enough. There's enough, believing that there's enough. Surrender to what is and what you have in your control, and intentional action. So taking action intentionally with purpose, not just out of fear and like spontaneous out of fear. Prosperity is coming from your vision, acting from your vision. You have something you want to create, to accomplish, to give. And so you're acting from that place of that intention. And then your vision is pulling you into itself. And we'll talk more about vision. Yeah. So this is like the scarcity versus prosperity. So you can kind of notice where which one happens for you. How these kinds of mindsets show up in your actual beliefs may be that you believe rich people are greedy. And if you made a lot of money, you would be too. People will judge you if you have a lot of money. So fear, that could be because you've judged people, which is so common. And that's what there has been some sort of programming, like dividing people, like they and they. So that's another way of creating division. So believing that you'll lose important people in your life if you're successful, or more successful than your family or whoever. Being afraid of feeling overburdened by work or responsibility if you're making a lot of money. Not making enough by what you do. So whatever it is that you do for your work and your business, having a limiting belief that whatever that is can't make you good money. Looking at the past only and seeing that those things from the past that haven't worked so far are just going to keep happening. So it's like, basing your future experience on your past beliefs. And then feeling a non-deserving of what you do, that what you love, let's see. Yeah, so basically, connection to like the right or the deservingness of doing what you love and doing what you want to do, to having enough. Okay. So some of these look like in your business, they may look like financial vagueness or avoidance, like I used to do. So I used to do my taxes for the previous year. Actually, my bookkeeping. I would have my bookkeeping done by somebody else from like a shoebox of stuff, like March for the previous year. So I had no tracking system. I never knew where I was at. I was just flying by the seat of my pants all the time. And then self-sabotage. So not following through on opportunities that arise with leads or any kind of other opportunities in your business, being vague, again, about your marketing plan, your business plan, your numbers, underpricing. So not really charging market value for what you're worth and what you need to make a living. Perfectionism. So this is a really big form of self-sabotage, like not doing anything because it's not perfect. So then kind of just freezing and not getting support. And there's a lot of times there's a few of these in the mix when there's self-sabotage. And these are all coming from scarcity. So from fear instead of vision. So another one is judging receiving. So glorifying over giving. So judging that, it's better to give and not receive, but there always has to be a receiver if there's a giver. So don't glorify over giving. And like sometimes people will give things away in their business, but they're not making enough money. So really not judging receiving is a big deal. Okay, another one is a sense of separation, not fitting in. This is a scarcity mindset too, because it's seeing yourself as separate instead of connected. And money comes from other people. So you have to really step into connection and visibility to make money. Having emotional and mental distance from money. So this can look like, not really connecting with money and your vision and your planning with money, and not feeling your feelings when it comes to what you're feeling around your money relationship. And we'll talk more about money relationship later. Okay, so confidence or self-esteem issues. So this could be about your creativity, what you're creating. It could be as an entrepreneur, because a lot of times it's people have a hard time making money as an entrepreneur more than they do as an employee. So that it's a little bit different of an energy. So it's stepping into the identity of being self-employed and the confidence in that. Resistance to visibility and effective sales strategies. So this could look like not doing marketing consistently, not having a plan for marketing that is strategic. And similarly, this could look like, you could do marketing, but then you don't have a sales strategy that pushes people through to the sale and supports people and connects with people in that process that's aligned with your values. Then that's also not going to, you basically have to have marketing and visibility and a sales process to sell things to people. If you're missing one of those things, you're not going to have an effective business. Lack of business systems, again, and marketing and sales strategies, those are kind of the same. Tying your self-worth to your net worth. So if you make your self-worth about how much money you're making, it's not going to be fun. So this is a limiting belief, like tying your self-worth to your net worth. Your worth as a human being, and we'll talk more about this later, is not tied to how much money you're making, period. It could also be that you're stuck in a money ceiling. So you've hit this sort of cap and you're not able to break through it. So it could be that you don't feel like you deserve more than that. So these are some of the limiting beliefs about how the scarcity can show up. And then one way to notice what beliefs you have is by listening to your language. And this is true for everybody around you too. Noticing what beliefs are kind of implicit in the things that people are saying. For example, if somebody says, I can't charge that much, that means they don't think that what they offer is worth it. And this is especially true if it's within market value. I'm not good at numbers in business. That was me. I related to that so much, and that did not serve me. That's how I felt bankruptcy for the first businesses I had. And now I geek out on them. I love them. So I use them as stress relief, doing doing spreadsheets of numbers and projections. Okay, another one is, I'm not a marketer or a salesperson. So any kind of hat that you wear in your business that you don't identify with, you don't embrace yet, that's a limiting belief. I'm just trying to make the minimum. That is really limiting what you have the capacity to create. These are huge. This is so common. That's too expensive, or I can't afford that. So, and I encourage you, I'm not saying to go out and charge something that you don't actually have the money for. What I'm saying is that there's another way to reframe this. You could say that I have other priorities, right? So if you actually you go to there's this exercise, you can go to like an art gallery or something, and you have cash in your pocket, like $200, $500, whatever you want to put in there, whatever be a stretch for you. And you go in and you walk around, and maybe you have to have thousands depending on the gallery. So how much ever money you need to have to actually buy something there if you wanted to. When you walk around and you tell yourself, like, I could buy that, right? And you're choosing not to because you're choosing to prioritize other things, or maybe you choose to, depending on where you're at. But really letting yourself notice that you're letting yourself be where you are and choose what you're choosing. And that if you wanted to do some things, you could do things, but you're prioritizing what you spend money on based on your values and your needs and your income at this moment. But it's not limited forever. It's the advantage of being self-employed. It can grow. And okay, I can't make a good living as a blah, blah, blah. So whatever the thing is that you do, if you have a limiting belief, in my work, a lot of times there's a starving artist concept that people have. And so then think I can't make a good living as an artist. Well, I see people do it every day. So it is possible. So whatever it is you're doing, owning that you can make a living at it, and being willing to look for evidence for that as well. Money's not important to me. Okay, how's that one working for you? So this is a limiting belief. You don't have to be greedy to have money. You can actually be more generous with the more money you have. So it doesn't have to be the most important thing in your life. You can still live within your values, but how can you have a relationship with money that is healthy and not pushing it away or devaluing it? What else? So just think about for a second what other beliefs words you've said, or things that you've said, or things that people have told you. And you can pause this if you want to write those down, just to get them out. It's important to just let those move out and just acknowledge them, because when you shine a flashlight on them, they're no longer in the dark. Okay, so money is simply a tool. So we have all these beliefs around them, and we see that we feel all these energies around them, if they're good or bad or whatever. But money is simply a tool. Like a hammer can build something or hurt something or destroy something. It's a tool, just like a hammer or a cell phone. You can do a billion things with a cell phone now, a smartphone. So, and you can do good things or bad things, whatever you want to make it. It's just a tool to make things happen, just like the money. So yeah, it's crazy to think about this because we have so many things on top of money, but it is just a tool. Okay, so here's an exercise to help you flip beliefs over. And you want some paper for this. So and if you need to pause, feel free. So okay, so what we're going to do is take one belief that you have. It can be any beliefs that just popped out at you. You can do one that really stands out to you, the one that you felt kind of like, ooh, you know. So pick a belief. For example, I'm not a marketer. That's one you have. You can use that. Or here's another one. I'll never double my income in my business. So whatever thing that you have that's limiting you in your mind, go ahead and write that down. And then notice how it feels. Just to own that, to see it, and then just breathe into that for a second. And then flip it around. So now you're gonna write the opposite. So I am a marketer, or it's totally possible to double my income in my business. And you're not just gonna write this down. You can pause this after I give directions if you need more time. But you're gonna look for how it's true, this new belief. So you're gonna find one inkling of truth about this belief. For example, if you think I'm not a marketer, you actually can say, yeah, I post on Facebook 5 times a week. I do shows, for 6 months out of the year. What is it you do? You go to networking events, you pass out, business cards. So if you're doing any kind of marketing and you're visible at all as a business owner, your product or your service is visible somewhere, that's marketing. So you're doing it. And the same thing with the income. You can write down like what you've already done, what you've already accomplished, and or what other people you've seen them do, right? And so it is possible. So now how does that feel? How does it feel to like, oh, move out the old belief, take on the new belief, and then feel that in your body? Now think of one action you can do to reinforce this belief. So if it's the marketing thing, for example, you could actually do some marketing, make a strategy, make a plan, do some research on marketing, and do something different, do something more. Own your identity as a marketer better, more fully. And then the other one is like really looking at your numbers and seeing how much it would take and what it would take and some strategies possibly to actually increase or even double your business income. So commit to this within the next 5 days. Like put it on your calendar. Like whatever that reinforcement is, write it down. And you can come back to this belief, take a screenshot if you want to, this process, and do it over and over and over again. When you notice beliefs come up, just do this exercise. It will move things out. And that awareness is the first step in shifting it. Okay, here are a bunch of beliefs, affirmations really, that I offer on my website for free. And you can take a screenshot or you can get it on my website. And these are statements that are really showing you that you can thrive in your business and some different habits that you can take. So for example, a simple one is I release limiting belief patterns about being a creative for creatives. Society and culture do not create my belief structure. I am a leader and create my world. So whatever it is that whatever one of these resonates for you, I encourage you to either get one from me and print it out or go ahead and write down just because they are powerful. Okay. All right. So we're going to go through the 8 prosperity principles today. And the first one is the principle of enough. So here's my favorite quote about money, prosperity, anything. It's from the book, The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. Let go of trying to get more of what you don't really need. It frees up oceans of energy to make a difference with what you already have. When you make a difference with what you have, it expands. What you appreciate, appreciates. You can't get to prosperity through the portal of more, only enough. And this is so counterintuitive. Our culture is like more, supersize, all that stuff, right? But if you, and sometimes I think we stop ourselves because they're like, well, I can't do that thing because I don't have a team to help me do that in my business. It's like, well, what can you do with what you already have? This piece is huge. Knowing that right now you have enough. Okay, so this is part of your brain that this is a lizard. And this is a part of your brain, as my coaching mentor, Martha Beck, always says, there'll always be 2 voices and that there's not enough and you're in danger, right? So these are from the oldest part of our brain, the lizard brain, the lower limbic brain, or not limbic, it's I forgot the name of it, but it's basically there to keep us safe. And so we have to learn how to not let that part take over. So that's simple. So you'll always have a voice that says there's not enough. So it's always like, okay, where do I have enough? How do I have enough? What do I have that I can use to move forward? And then another piece here is really looking at where you are at this moment. So trusting where you are in this moment, that if you are here and really seeing where you are, and that's part of getting clarity and not being vague with your business or your money, is where are you now so that you can figure out where you want to go. If you don't have the you are here on the map, you can't figure out where to go and how to get there, right? All right, so really it's stepping into that enough piece is stepping into how is this perfect right now? What can I use? What can I do next? This is the next step. Principle number 2 is the principle of receiving. So here's a great quote. It's from the book Money. This is actually a paraphrase from Money's Not the Problem You Are. It's not about money. It's about how much you're willing to receive. If you're not willing to receive freedom and presence, money can't help you. Money is never a solution because it's never the problem. Money can't solve your problem. Only you can. So this really puts it into your hands, and it comes back to like having enough, being enough, and then using what you have from wherever you're at. And then this one I love. When you try to hide, it means you're not allowing yourself to receive. It's impossible to stay hidden and also increase the amount of money you're making. So if you're not being visible in your business as much as you could, this is a stopping point for you because you're not going to be able to receive to increase your income if you don't have that movement, right? And connection really as well. Okay. Okay. All right. So receiving is massive, and it's a constant practice. And then receiving is also, creating a vacuum in your life. So that could be creating, different kinds of plans for the money you're going to get and being able to receive that so you can actually do something with it. And just really seeing that, receiving money means giving joy. Like whatever it is you've created, there's value there. So really like remembering that connection to your customer or your client. All right, principle number 3 is the principle of vision, leading from vision even. So as I mentioned before, this is a quote by Dr. Michael Beckwith. Pain pushes until vision pulls. So fear and scarcity can push you into doing something. I have to because whatever. But if you can get to the place where you can take care of your basic needs, to come from vision of what you want to create, why you want to create it, that's massive. So I want you to pause this in just a second and do this exercise here of answering these questions. If you could have anything you wanted for your business, what would it look like? What would you want to create? So answer that question. What would you want to create? And then answer these questions, because you can't get to your dream, you must come from it. So this gives you that deeper why, the sense of the deeper why, and the bigger reasons why you want this vision so that you can actually create it. That feeling of coming from it. And this is something you can always come back to. Just really, and even write it on your wall somewhere about where, how you want to step into this feeling of your vision, your dream, and why it's important to you. So these are kind of like, these questions can kind of go like a toddler asking you questions, just let yourself go. You can even go up and down these and at least answer like 7 different questions about the why or what's more about your vision. Okay. What do you want to create? If you could have anything in your business in years to come, what would it look like? Okay. All right. And then the principle of acknowledgement is principle number 4. So I love this quote. It's a yoga from a yogi tea bag. Without gratitude, there's no prosperity. So it kind of comes back to like, being where you're at and accepting it too. So I want to challenge you to do an exercise on gratitude. You can do this after the workshop, or you can pause it and do it now. But don't create a list of what you're grateful for. Okay, that's fine. But there's research that shows that if you write a paragraph, like multiple sentences about one thing you're grateful for, what it does is it creates deeper neural pathways in your brain for gratitude, because it's deepening that one thing, right? Not just like a few on the surface of like a few things you're grateful for. So pick, it can be your kid, it can be your dog, it can be your house, it can be your health, it can be the sunshine. Like, what are you grateful for? One thing, and then write a paragraph about it. Okay. Another way to really step into this acknowledgement piece is, and this goes back to vision too, is to write a letter to yourself from the future. So you can pause this and do it now in just a second or at the end, but you want to pick a date in the future and write about how you're living the vision that you just went over in principle 3 and what that looks like. So write about how you feel and what you have accomplished. Okay. So you're basically thinking about, okay, let's say a year from today or 5 years from today, whatever you want to do, like write the date, excuse me, and then write down, hey, what's been happening since today's actual date? And just write a letter of telling yourself about what's been happening, right? And what your vision looks like, and how it feels, not just what it looks like, but how it feels to you. And all that you accomplished and overcame to get there. This is huge. So really acknowledging your vision and gratitude for what you have. And Yeah, it's huge. This is a huge practice. You can do this daily, even before you go to bed or something. All right. All right, principle number 5 is principle of truth. So this is a huge quote. This is by Kyle Cease, who wrote The Illusion of Money. Money isn't causing or creating your fear. It's just bringing it to the surface. Kyle Cease. So yeah, he says that everything you experience around money is more about you than it is about money. Because money is neutral. Money is just a thing. It's just an energy. It's just a tool. So yeah, it's like, so all these beliefs that we've had about money and about, prosperity, about business, whatever it is, it's like we took all the things we've heard and we created this monster in our heads that freaks us out. But then we forgot that we actually drew the image of the monster ourselves based on what input we had. So this is really, it's really about our thoughts, not so much actual money, because you can't change money. You can only change your beliefs and your thoughts around it. So, okay. So there's a couple of quotes here from the Little Money Bible by Stuart Wilde. He says, it's hard to align to money if you, or I add, or any part of you thinks that it's evil or nasty. But once you come to an understanding that money is neutral, that abundance is natural and spiritual, it's easy to see that having money does not necessarily deprive someone else, because that's also a limiting belief that there's a limited amount. I mean, they just printed trillions of dollars this year in many countries. So, it's not taking away from somebody else. I mean, people do have judgments around the billionaires who are not taxed much at all. I'm not a big fan of that either, but I can't control that. All I can control is who I vote for and all that kind of stuff, and my relationship with what's in front of me. Here's another one. Money is a symbol of appreciation, a gesture of goodwill, and compassion. It's only the negative emotions around money that are evil. So greed, avarice, obsession with power, and so on. So, these are things that just clarifying that money can be an amazing thing. You can literally save somebody's life with money. So it's huge. And here's another quote that I love by Dan Millman, an author. Money is neither my God nor my devil. It is a form of energy that tends to make us more of who we already are, whether it's greedy or loving. And I love this because a lot of times people are afraid that when they get more money, they'll become greedy. No, you just become more of who you are, which can be more generous, for example, right? So think about that. That's why I love working with entrepreneurs and creative entrepreneurs and holistic entrepreneurs who have really a big heart and they want to create something beautiful in the world. They are creating something beautiful in the world because that's where, because there's going to be more of the good things that they're creating in the world when they have more money and they're creating more. Okay. Next principle is the principle of value. Principle number 6. Okay, so this is about reclaiming your own sense of value and owning the value of what you're offering. So Sue Bryce, who's an amazing photographer, says you can't sell something you don't value. So if you don't value it, people will sense that and you won't be able to sell it. So your value of your own worth includes valuing your energy, your time. So this is like in your pricing, actually, sorry. So, creating value, the ways you create value are your energy, your time, your skills, your expertise, your experience, your senses, including your intuition, your uniqueness, the value you bring to everything and everyone just by being. So first of all, your value is not about how much money you're making. We've already said that. And think about, I love that there's a meme about this. It says, think about like, what if you can have organic raspberry confidence? Have the audacity to charge $7 for 6 ounces, right? So people charge what they charge. And there's another example of, the bill is $1,000 for something like, so say for electrician or something, or I don't know what else would be here. It costs $1 to cut the wire, but $999 for knowing which wire to cut. So these concepts really show you the value of something without it being time for money or per hour kinds of thing. That's a limiting way of thinking about it. And then another way to tweak that is thinking about the time it takes to paint something for a painter versus the lifetime of experience learning it. So, somebody can paint something really quickly and charge, nothing for it or tons for it, but it depends on the experience and how much they say it's worth, really, and how much the marketplace says it's worth. So really owning your value and being willing to charge what you need to charge for your business and for you to be sustainable and to own the value of it, and to even be willing to align your values with what you're offering and trusting that. What are your values as a business? And being willing to come from those, that integrity is also very valuable. Low self-esteem is like driving through life with your handbrake on. So really owning your worth and stepping into your self-worth is huge and gives you momentum. And this is a great quote. The only way you can increase security is to nurture yourself. This seems so counterintuitive, but I've written a blog during the pandemic about like counterintuitive ways to increase prosperity. And one of them is taking care of yourself and giving yourself space, giving yourself what you need, and getting out of your routine. That's, so taking a walk, connecting with a loved one, could be drawing a boundary, doing what's most important first in your business. So you can just really have that on it and make it a priority and be willing to do it. And then, so really nurturing yourself and honoring yourself and valuing yourself in whatever forms that looks like is a practice and can increase your prosperity mindset and experience and increase your self-worth because you're valuing yourself. It starts with you. Okay. All right, so this one's huge. The last two, principles 7 and 8, if I had to just choose two, I would choose these two, okay? So you have a relationship with money, period. Unless you're off the grid, which you're not if you're watching this, you have a relationship with money. And most people have a dysfunctional relationship with money. So that can look like they're not committed, they're on again, off again, they're here today, gone tomorrow. There's drama, there's codependence, there's a lack of personal responsibility in the relationship, okay? It could be kind of like you're angry at money for not visiting you or not showing up, but you're not actually calling money back by doing the things you need to do to make money and to track your money and to be responsible with your money. So this is a two-way street, right? So really commitment to your relationship with money and tracking your money and planning with your money and taking steps to make money and market and do sales, that commitment and the long-term commitment to your money planning and stuff like that is also huge. Committing to your relationship with money, whether that means scheduling a date once a week with money, maybe you can throw in some dark chocolate. Barry Tesler, the author of The Art of Money, suggests that. And spending quality time with money, having a date night or date day once a week, or at least monthly or even quarterly, depending on what you're doing. And there can be the kind of date where you actually plan or you're tracking for what has happened. So reconnect with money, creating safety, not being emotionally distanced from it. And here's a great quote about a sense of self-worth, purpose, and place in the world from our relationship with money. So where are you with a relationship with money? What does it look like? Are you connected? Do you share the love? Are you disconnected? Are you separate? Just notice what you feel and be willing to change it and commit to your relationship with money. Here's a great quote by Susie Orman about the relationship again and money responding to you. And money is like you and me. It's attracted to respect and appreciation by Marie Forleo. All right, principle number 8. Principle of allowing and non-grasping. So there's research on people who have been enlightened in their brains, and there are two things that they have. One is they know they're not in control, so they're not attached to outcomes, and then they can't control them. And two, they're not separate. They actually feel connected, a sense of oneness. So that's huge. And also think about it as a feather. If you have a feather that's falling and you try to catch it, the wind that you move, the dispersion of wind when you move your hand will make it possibly move away. So you have to allow it to come to you. And the same with a dog. Think about a dog. If you chase a dog, it will run. But if you put a nice bed for it, some bacon, it will and you call it sweetly, it will come to you. So this is your money relationship as well. Like if you have this connection with it, you allow it, and you create a space for it, and you create a plan for the money you want to make, even miracles happen. So here's a review of the 8 prosperity principles: enough, enoughness, receiving, vision, acknowledgement, reclaiming truth, value. And the value is you're owning your value and your own values and trusting those. And the principle of relationship with money, and non-grasping or allowing. So these principles can take you very far. You can review these and really see which ones resonate for you and which ones stand out the most for you, and be willing to, move your energy around money and your mindset. So what I'm hoping is happening here is that the cog in the wheel that may be limiting beliefs around money is something that has been standing in the way, but it's becoming the way. This new relationship with money and commitment is becoming the way to what you want to move toward. The missing link for you and your business and what you can create from a positive money mindset and prosperity mindset, and moving toward your vision. So create a turning point in your relationship with money from today, and consider, these exercises and which ones you can do consistently, whether it's the gratitude or the future self letter, or just really getting in touch with your why and why things are important to you, and your money relationship, and what it is you can do consistently with your money relationship to create the commitment and the emotional connection and the clarity that you need to move forward, and break through your money ceiling. Be willing to receive more and manage your money that you do make consciously, because you have a solid relationship with money. If you want some free tools, you can go to my website at jenaleycoaching.com/gifts, and you can get this kit of another workshop and the manifesto I mentioned and some tools. And here's a great quote by the author of The Millionaire Mind. He had a huge company with tons of workshops, and he said, if you want to change the fruits, you will first have to change the roots. If you want to change the visible, you must first change the invisible. So this is speaking to your mindset. So, you have these thoughts, that are the roots here, and be willing to change the roots of something so that the fruits can reflect it. So your external world can reflect this new mindset that you have around money and prosperity and possibility in your business. And I hope all of these tools take you farther than you can imagine, and you're able to step into them fully and practice them and grow your business. I'm Jen Aley. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and good luck. Take care.